And I promised you all I was coming back. Here I am, Instant Classic 8. I have returned in my new palace, I guess you can say. But yeah, I've finally settled in, so hopefully I can get more videos out to you guys and try to do my very, very best with that. Hopefully I can do, my Royal Rumble preview and review this coming weekend, so look forward to that. But for now, I have this video right here. This is just me giving my thoughts, or I guess giving out awards for last year in 2008. The Dirty White Boy, he came up with a list of stuff, and he was asking people, what were their thoughts about, like, in different categories and awards and stuff. So I thought I should make a video on it. I told him I would, so I'm going to do it. That's it's a pretty long list, and it was kind of hard to come up with. So if you want to see the entire list, go check out one of his latest videos. He's put them all on there. I didn't do every award because I just couldn't think of some, so I took some out. But if you want to see the entire list, go ahead and look at one of his videos, and they're all there. But for right now, I'm going to give you the ones that I was able to come up with. There were two categories. I'm going to start with the less categories, category B. So I want to start with that. Now you can see the list. I'm going to put the list in the description, at least what I come up with, so you can follow along with me. First, we got the worst major pro wrestling show, which means, from WWE, TNA, maybe you could put ROH in there, but mainly WWE and TNA. What was the worst pay-per-view? I'm going to have to go with TNA's Destination X. I was this close to going to that pay-per-view. It wasn't too much to come out of that pay-per-view that was really good. The main event was terrible, and I think Elevation X, yeah, it was just pretty bad. So that one's that. Best wrestling maneuver, even though this has been in wrestling for years, many years, just the way he does it, it's fantastic, and that is the shooting star press, and that's when it's done by Evan Bourne. When he does it and he puts his, his legs on his back and he holds it, it looks amazing. No one does it better than him. The most disgusting promotional tactic, which means the worst thing either company could do to put something over. I'm going to have to go with TNA, and it's going to have to be Suicide. Them bringing a video game character to life just to sell the video game. And then the fact that they name him Suicide, with all the crazy like Benoit stuff happened a couple years ago, that's just really, really bad. It doesn't work at all. So yeah, Suicide is just bad. The worst television show of the year, this is a cop-out, but I'm going to say ECW, mainly because I didn't watch ECW. But if I couldn't say that because I didn't watch it, it had to be Impact, because Impact was pretty, you had decent episodes here and there, but for the most part, it was just all bad. The worst match of the year, this is easy. Hard Justice of 2008, Jay Lethal versus Sanjay Dutt. I believe the black ball chain mask, I don't know, that whole match was just, the only thing good about that was Jay Lethal's parents in the crowd. Those facial expressions they made, they were hilarious. But otherwise, that match was terrible. The worst feud of the year, Triple H, Vladimir Kozlov. The matches were terrible. There was nothing good about this feud. It was just bad. Worst promotion of the year, sorry to say, TNA. That's pretty much gimmick. The best gimmick, yeah, I would have to go with that. Probably, this gimmick put the guy in the main event. Maybe just for one match, but it elevated his career. And that's Brian Kendrick with the whole, over-the-top flamboyant gimmick. I really digged it. Worst gimmick, Suicide. It's terrible. The best wrestling DVD, that's going to TNA's Global Impact. There's probably more. You know me with DVDs. But there's probably more out there that I could think of. But for right now, right off the bat, I can say Global Impact from last year. If you still haven't gotten it, I don't know what you're waiting for, because it was just the best. And then the worst DVD would have to be the WWE with The Rock. It was just poorly put together, and there was no sign of The Rock on there, so that was pretty bad. Now we're going to go to the main categories, and like I said, these were really hard, but I'm going to do my best. We're going to go with the Rookie of the Year. I had Evan Bourne down, but I got to swap him out for Kofi Kingston. I know a lot of you going to say Kofi Kingston was a rookie. He really didn't do too much in 2007, so 2008, yeah, I'm going with Kofi Kingston. The best non-wrestler performer, I know all you are going to get on me for this, Santino Marella. You know, he's more known for being on the mic these days than wrestling. You know, he may wrestle here and there, just a squash match, but mostly he's just on the stick, you know, performing. He's the best. The best television announcer, even though it was only for a couple of months. Mick Foley did a really, really good job. I mean, I could have copped out and said JR, but I want to go ahead and say Mick Foley. The worst television announcer, obviously, Mike Adamle. The best major pro wrestling show of the year, it's going to be WrestleMania 24. That's a given. You know, that show was just amazing. I just watched that again the other day. The best major MMA show of the year. This was hard. I had a tie. It was like a three-way tie. It was WC 34. I believe it was UFC 84. I believe it was Ill Will. It was 83 or 84. And then my ultimate winner was just, you know, no pun intended, UFC 92, the ultimate. That card was just amazing. You know, if you guys haven't checked out those fights, you know, you really need to. But that show was just the best. We're going to go with MMA Match of the Year, Uriah Faber versus Gene Pulver from WEC 34. That one, you just need to see that fight. If you haven't seen it, just find a way to see that fight. The Pro Wrestling Match of the Year, Shawn Michaels versus Ric Flair. You know, obviously there could have been more, but, you know, that was just a great match. And, you know, really, really emotional stuff there. Best weekly television show, I'm going to go with Friday Night SmackDown. It wasn't too many times last year. I did watch SmackDown a very lot last year, and there wasn't too many times I said, oh, that was a bad SmackDown. Most of the time I said it was decent or it was really good, so SmackDown was going to get the vote. MMA Promotion of the Year, WEC. WEC put on great shows last year. I mean, I could have went UFC, but WEC put on really good shows last year. Wrestling Promotion of the Year, WWE. The most underrated, I know he's going to be a shock, but I'm going to say Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho did not get enough recognition last year. Chris Jericho was the man last year, and I'm going to come back to that. The most overrated, I actually put two, I actually did wrestling and MMA. For wrestling, I'm going to go with Motor City Machine Guns, mainly in TNA. You know, when they went to ROH, they had a couple good matches with Briscoes, but when they were in TNA, for all the hype that, oh, they need to be this, they need to be champions, you know, they didn't do crap, so very overrated. And when it comes to MMA, Kimbo Slice, who else, you know, very overrated, guy can't work. Best on interviews, Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho, he changed his whole gimmick all around, and it's just for fantastic stuff. The most improved, I got a tie. I'm going to put MVP. You know, MVP won the official vote last year, but this year I'm going to put him that. It's actually a tie between MVP and Jeff Hardy. You know, I thought Jeff Hardy was nothing more than, you know, a high jumper and everything, but he really proved himself this year and became a really good wrestler. So he gets the vote. Tag Team of the Year, Beer Money. I mean, who thought, you know, James Storm and Robert Roode would make a good tag team, and you know, I think they're tag team champions now still, but you know, really good team together. Feud of the Year, Chris Jericho, Shawn Michaels. You know, that's a given. That feud was just amazing. The best box office draw, John Cena. You saw how the ratings went up when John Cena came back. MMA Fighter of the Year for male, Rashad Evans. I thought it was those two fights, you know, he proved himself, you know, knocking out Chuck Liddell and then beating God, what's his name? I can't think of it. Forrest Griffin. Was really good. MMA Fighter of the Year for female, given Gina Carano, and that's a cop-out. Wrestler of the Year for female, Beth Phoenix. I thought Beth Phoenix did a very good job. And then the Wrestler of the Year, I have a tie between Chris Jericho and Kurt Angle. If you say anything bad about Kurt Angle, go back and look at all his matches last year. There was not one bad match. Kurt Angle was the man last year. And Chris Jericho proved himself as well. Like I say, he was very underrated. So those are my awards. You know, if you feel free to let me know what's yours. Like I said, I got the list over there. And that's that. Like I said, look forward to the Royal Rumble this weekend, and I'll give you my thoughts on, I guess, the preview on that, you know, later this week. So until then, Instant Classic 8, and I'm out.